Listen to this really annoying story. So I was driving in my car the other day and I was listening to a podcast. And on this podcast, this guy was being interviewed, quite a youngish guy, about how he has built his business from zero to a few million a year, right? And there was this segment in the podcast where he was giving tips and techniques on how you can start building yours as well, how you can go about getting your first customer, your first client, how you can go about using cold DMs, how you can use, cold email to get clients as well. And I ran a lead generation agency before. And I was thinking to myself on some of the tips he was giving, I was like, I can't imagine that working. No, I don't think that would work either. And I thought, you know what? I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Anyway, fast forward a few minutes on the podcast, and the host asks the guy who's got the business, he says, so these tips that you're giving out, is this how you created your first million? And the guy paused for a minute and was like, no, I created my first million by putting some money on crypto in 2014 and then cashing out in like 2022. And he made his first million that way. And I thought to myself, why are you giving advice, bro? You've never even done that. You didn't start at zero. You started at 1 million and then opened your business and then had a team around you. Why are you giving advice on how to cold DM and cold outreach to people when you didn't start from zero yourself and didn't have to do any of these things? No wonder that advice didn't make any sense, right? And it kind of reminded me of the state of the online space at the moment, like the SMMA communities, the digital marketing agencies. Not all of them, by the way, but a lot of these players are given information on things that they've never actually done themselves. And it's getting very, very hard to tell what the good information is from the bad information. I used to run a LinkedIn agency, and a little on the side as well, I used to have a course which people could go through and they could learn how to generate leads on. And on this course, I would show actual live examples of a conversation taking place and what should be said and why things should be said. And what you're going to see next is basically a coaching session from a VA that I hired, who I was teaching how to generate leads on my account, right? And they were early on in their training, and I was basically going through their messages and looking at what they should have done better, where they've lost the person's interest, where they've become too spammy in the conversation. These things are very, very important for when you're actually sending DMs, sending cold emails as well. And I've got the full clip here for you to just take a look and to learn from yourself and try and absorb as much information. DMing and cold emailing is not as simple as just typing a generic message and hitting send. It's about being human. It's about actually trying to see this person's way of thinking and trying to understand that they are probably interested in what I've got to offer, but I need to present it and package it in the right way, which suits the conversation and suits their personality as well. So I hope you enjoy this clip coming up. Let me know if you've got any questions down below. Hey guys, in this module, we're going to be focusing on finding an indicator of interest. And I'm going to be showing you exact call scripts of where my VA actually was just in training and he basically screwed up a few leads by not finding an indicator of interest. I'm going to walk through that right now so you guys basically don't make the same mistake when you are reaching out to people. So let's have a look at this conversation with Kareen here. So first of all, I've went in with an opener message. All I want is a conversation. It's polite. It's good. Great, right? Kareen has replied saying, thanks for reaching out. This is what my role does. How can I help you? At this point in the conversation, she is very, very open to further conversation. And my VA has replied, that sounds amazing. Are you using LinkedIn to market yourself and your services at the moment? It's a great place to get more clients. So he's tried to pivot based on the fact that she seems pretty open to the conversation. So at the moment, I think this is, 2 thumbs up, right? But he's also added on an extra bit of a message here saying, I actually specialize in helping coaches get more clients on a regular basis through LinkedIn without spending money on advertising so they can concentrate on helping more people without having to worry about where they next come from, where the next client comes from. Now, the problem is here, he has told the prospect, Kareen, he's told her what I offer as a service. But he's jumped the gun a little bit. We're not quite up to that area in the conversation yet. And the reason why we're not quite up to this area in the conversation yet is why would I be telling somebody what I offer if there doesn't seem to be any indication that this person might need this service, have goals which might be associated with the service, has pain points associated with the service. So she's replied saying, thank you, Rob. It definitely is interesting for those that are passionate in making a difference in our society. I focus more on word of mouth. I haven't been focusing myself on LinkedIn yet. So good opportunity for this. What you should have done here is really kind of step back a bit and talk about like some of the benefits of basically marketing yourself on LinkedIn and sell her a little bit on this. And he does kind of do this. However, he does it in kind of an odd manner. So let's have a read of what he's replied. Would you like to explore LinkedIn marketing and what it can do for you? There's a huge potential for you to get more clients if you're interested. All right. So this line right here, I was having a laugh with him when he wrote this because I was like, this line right here makes me feel sick. Because basically he has turned this really natural conversation up to this point into a salesman knocking on your door. And what do people do to salesmen who are going door to door? Well, they usually slam the door in their face, right? So would you like to explore LinkedIn marketing and what it can do for you? There's a huge potential for you to get more clients if you're interested. Let's talk about the client's language at the moment. We've suddenly went from very, very natural language to actually quite formal, quite like corporate, professional language. This person's a coach in an area which deals with like happiness, life success, anxiety. Are they really going to resonate with the words huge upside, huge potential, explore LinkedIn marketing? No, what would have been better here was for him to actually step back and say, hey, you know what? LinkedIn's helped these few people here. It can help you find more people who are dealing with stressful situations and things like this, rather than go into like corporate speak. It wasn't that client's lingo. And guess what happened? He then went for the pitch as well when there was 0 pain points. So of course, this person didn't respond because there was nothing to respond to. It made it look like we were only after one thing, and that was putting money in the bank, which is never how you want to come across on LinkedIn. So learn from my VA's mistakes there. Let's have a look at the second one here. This was also his from Anne, who's a life coach. We went in again with just a usual friendly, warm opening to start a conversation. And Anne has replied with, hi, Rob, I help people find ways of being the person they are striving to be, overcoming obstacles. The biggest skills are listening and reflections. My clients are from all walks in life. I hope that very brief description gives you a flavor of life coaching. So Anne right now, Anne potentially thinks that I want to be a client of hers, which is fine because some people think this, like when you actually approach them and when you ask about them. So everything seems to be going all right at the moment because this person, we're having a conversation with the person, and that is the exact aim of this first message here. Next message is, are you using LinkedIn to market yourself and your services at the moment? It is a great place to get more clients. Okay, so glad to be of help. It is fulfilling. She's commented a little bit about my message here. I hope LinkedIn will help me grow my network and from this, a few more clients. Okay. Bingo, we have got somebody who's showing a big interest here. That's an indicator of interest. This person has talked a little bit about their goals. So think back to fears, hopes, dreams from your market research when you are finding pain points or indicators of interest. That's really what it's associated with, like fears, hopes, dreams, indicators of interest. Okay. So it's all going very well so far. And believe it or not, this doesn't actually end very well. So then he replies, I actually specialize in helping coaches on a regular basis. Just curious, is this something that is relevant to you? So Anne's then replied with, I'm not sure. So she's went from, just look at like the dynamics of this conversation. She's went from sending out really big messages, big message, to 3 words, I'm not sure. So she's disconnected from the conversation a little bit, but more importantly, if we picture what's happening, what's Anne thinking right now, always be thinking from Anne's perspective, or, the person on the other end's perspective, what's she thinking? Well, she's probably thinking, this person just wants to sell me something. I'm not quite sure if I trust them enough. So what the right choice is here is to actually take a back step or show something which builds trust, which is what I'm going to talk about in the added value module. Building trust when you have a situation like this. So check that one out afterwards. But instead of taking a step back and focusing on building rapport or adding some value, he actually went straight in with, in that case, it would make sense to set up a 10-minute call just so I can ask a few questions to get a bit of an overview and understanding about your situation. It's what I typically do. Have a look at my calendar and book a time that suits. Okay, so he should have picked up here that this person's guard went right up and he should have took it slower. And of course, and replied, she was being polite here. Thanks for the suggestion, Rob. I will give that some consideration. And even actually when we followed up with Anne later, she didn't even reply. She wanted out of the conversation here. And the only way to get back in was to build some trust, to actually make her feel more comfortable in the conversation.
and let her know that like we actually could help take it slower.
Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that video. What you can actually see in the video is that sometimes when we send people a DM, sometimes when we send people a message, we don't have to get everything right. Those messages which I just went through, which were my VAs, were actually a little bit too long for my liking. Yet they still would have worked with 1 or 2 tweaks when it came to the messages further on. You don't have to hit everything perfectly. You can go out right now and get clients as long as you try and understand the buyer, where they're at in the journey and things like this. So I enjoy personally making videos like this. If you want to see more, leave me a little comment below, and then we could try and push back on some of this fluff from these people who've never actually been there and done that in the space at the moment, that are very, very loud and have huge audiences. Hopefully this is my humble attempt at doing so. Hope you enjoyed the video. Take it easy. See you in the next one.